Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, Mrs. Davis, Dr. Hankin, Foundation members, deans, faculty, students, and guests. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Kent Trickle, and over the last 4 years, I've had the distinct pleasure of co-directing the Catherine W. Davis Global Community Scholarship with my colleague, Lori Maida. Today, we would like to welcome you to the 4th installment of the Davis Scholars' final presentations of their community service projects. We are very proud of the accomplishments of all of the students who have come through this program over the last 4 years, and we're particularly pleased to be here in the Gateway Center, a building conceived and designed on the same ideals of diversity and service that are central to the Catherine W. Davis Global Community Scholarship Program. And to be here in the Davis Auditorium, named for Mrs. Davis, whom we all thank and admire for her philanthropy, her altruism, and her global sensibility. It is now our pleasure to present the hard work of the 2010-2011 cohort of Catherine W. Davis Global Community Scholars. Once again, this group of scholars represents diverse backgrounds and experiences. They hail from 10 different countries whose flags you can see here on the screen: the United States, Colombia, Ghana, Uganda, Taiwan, Jamaica, Brazil, Germany, the Dominican Republic, and Poland. Throughout this year, these scholars have demonstrated academic excellence and commitment to service and have worked hard to develop their leadership skills through their project development and implementation. Next year, some of our scholars will return to WCC to continue their studies here. Some will enter or re-enter the job market and begin working in their fields. And many plan to transfer to other institutions to further their education. Those institutions include Cornell, Stony Brook, John Jay College, Columbia University, Cambridge University, California State University of Northridge, Mercy College, Iona College, and the New York Maritime University, among others. We expect they'll be successful in their endeavors, and we hope that their experiences as scholars in this program have left them better prepared to do so. We certainly are proud of them, and we think that you will be too when you see this sampling of what they've accomplished. We would like to thank you, Mrs. Davis, for giving us the opportunity to work with these extraordinary students, an appointment that I personally count as one of the most satisfying experiences of my time at WCC. Your generosity has helped these students grow into global citizens and community leaders who will shape the future of our world. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 2010-2011 Catherine W. Davis Global Community Scholars.
Good day, Mrs. Davis, WCC faculty, fellow scholars, and invited guests. Our service project group members are Grace Asante, Jennifer Dawkins, Shanice Smith, and myself, Cleveland Walters. We developed and implemented a service project called Sustain a School, which was to benefit the Martin Luther King Jr. School in Yonkers, New York. The name of the project reflects the 2010-2011 Global Scholarships theme of sustainability. This project may supplement some of the benefits which were lost through countywide budget cuts.
The plan was to meet faculty representatives at the school, to explain to them the concept of our service project, and to find out in what way we may be of help to the school. We met with 3 of the representatives on several different occasions: the assistant principal, Renee Green, the backstop coordinator, Grace Ferry, and the PTA coordinator, Deborah Florin. We ultimately decided to establish our own backstop collection on their behalf. We were aware that on its own, it would not be substantial, so we added another factor to the plan. We proposed to establish a sponsorship search, targeting businesses within the community. There are two components to this project. One, to enhance the school's already established Backstop for Education coupon collection by setting up our own collection points. And two, to offer proposals to businesses in the Westchester community to help us sustain the school by becoming sponsors. And these sponsors could donate funds, goods, or services.
We established a box tops collection point at 3 WCC sites, Peekskill, Cross County, and Valhalla campus, and also at 2 apartment complexes in Mount Vernon and Yonkers. We advertise about our box top collection through campus-wide emails, social networks, flyers, the WCC Facebook page, and by word of mouth. We develop and pack proposals for distribution to businesses in the community. We started our search for sponsors on Monday, January 17th, the day that America had set aside to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his legacy. It seemed befitting to our cause, as our target school shared the same name. We subsequently handed out over 50 proposals to potential sponsors.
We have thus far confirmed over 1,000 box top points collected at various locations and still counting. Complete uniform sets from Jackie's Kids, book fair by Barnes & Noble with a percentage of the proceeds going to the school, photography services from Public Rising Publications, monetary contributions from Alsamo's Pizzeria, assorted school supplies from Daisy's Hallmark Store, contribution of funds, binders, and filler paper from Sustainer School scholars, and monetary contributions from WCC faculty and students. The funds that we have collected have been used to purchase an assortment of additional school supplies: 172 notebooks, 200 double pocket folders, 1,600 number 2 pencils, 20 binders, and 20 packs of filler paper.
The experience has been very gratifying for us. Though quite challenging, the Sustain a School Service Project had resurrected certain qualities about us. Along with time, it required patience, optimism, commitment, and dedication. Those are some character traits which, when applied to difficult situations, they can cause amazing breakthrough. Those same characteristics are personal characteristics that we have learned to appreciate more today than we did before. Our sincere thanks to Mrs. Catherine Davis, the Catherine W. Davis Global Community Scholarship Program, Dr. Lola Mader, Professor Ken Trickle, the entire WCC Foundation, the Martin Luther King Jr. School, and the businesses which responded to our plea for sustenance. You have given us the opportunity to discover the beauty inside of ourselves through service. Thank you.
Salutations, faculty and invited guests, and a warm hello to our guest of honor, Mrs. Davis. I, Leticia Chavez, stand here today with my partner, Frank Vallota, and this year we've worked on preserving the green and blue. During the first couple of scholarship meetings, Franco and I gravitated towards each other and found out we shared common interests. I, for one, have an interest in animals, while Franco has an interest in ecology. With these two ideas in mind, we chose to educate the community about how to sustain a native species. All our research has led us to
bluebirds. Now, there are a couple of reasons why we chose bluebirds as the center of our community service project. First off, the bluebird is the state bird of New York, and a beautiful one at that. Bluebirds are also excellent hunters of pests such as cutterworms and beetles. These pests are notorious for destroying farmers' crops, thus leaving farmers no choices but to use pesticides. Bluebirds like to live in pastures, fields, parks, basically any vast open area. The last and most important reason why we wanted to help sustain the bluebird population is because they're expediently becoming endangered.
They need our help because of things like urbanization, which basically means to make something urban. For example, this bluebird's natural habitat, a nice vast open area. This building is a simplistic representation of urbanization. Also, come along the invasive species. An invasive species are any species that are introduced to an environment and become a nuisance and a fellow competitor for the resources. For example, commonly seen are the sparrow and the European starling, along with the blue jay and the robin, until the submissive bluebird decides not to stay here anymore.
Okay, and this has led us to work with Westmoreland Nature Sanctuary. Westmoreland Nature Sanctuary was established in 1957 as a not-for-profit organization. At 640 acres, Westmoreland is one of the largest nature sanctuaries in all of Westchester. Run by Adam Zorn and Steve Ricker, Westmoreland focuses on educating the community about anything and everything nature-related. Westmoreland also provides a myriad of recreational activities to explore, such as hiking and bird watching. Every day of the week, there are programs run by either Steve or Adam that involve educating the community. One project that Westmoreland is working on is the preservation of bluebird communities. However, 640 acres is a lot to take care of with only 2 people. This is why we chose to dedicate our time to helping Westmoreland Nature Sanctuary.
Bluebirds are very particular creatures and thus require a particular nesting box. The typical bluebird nesting box is about 4 inches across, 4 inches long, and the entrance hole needs to be properly sized and placed as to not let other bigger birds and animals take roost. Also, it is crucial for the nesting box to have proper ventilation and drainage holes. Without these holes, the boxes would quickly fill up with water, rot the wood, and destroy the nest. However, most importantly, they need monitoring.
Westmoreland Nature Sanctuary has over 50 nesting boxes on their property scattered about that we helped monitor. Our monitoring procedure consisted of multiple steps that helped ensure safe coming of bluebird communities. The first step to ensuring a healthy nesting box is making sure it's properly cleaned out. Because bluebirds won't nest in boxes that have old nests in them, we needed to remove all old nests before the bluebirds could move in. After the boxes became suitable for roosting, most of the nesting boxes became filled with various types of nests. Leticia and I had to remove any nests before any eggs were laid that wasn't from a native species. Also, mice frequently had to be removed from nesting boxes in order to ensure clean environments for bluebirds to lay their eggs in. Lastly, we made sure that every nesting box was in tip-top shape. If a piece needed to be replaced, or if a box was entirely broken, we would make sure it was properly replaced or fixed. During this entire process, we monitored where bluebirds were nesting so that Westmoreland would have a better idea of where the bluebirds like to nest.
Because Frank and I wanted to make sure we were educating about the importance of preserving a native species, we conducted a bluebird nesting building workshop for local Cub Scouts. At these workshops, we educated Cub Scouts on why it's important to preserve the bluebirds. We spent time explaining how invasive species are detrimental to native species. Each Cub Scout went home with a freshly built bluebird nesting box, along with the knowledge required to maintain them.
As a supplement to helping monitor the bluebird community, Letitia and I also helped maintain some of the many beautiful trails that Westmoreland has to offer. Armed with rakes and chainsaws, we set out to help clear the trails of dirt, leaves, rocks, and fallen over trees. We also removed invasive flora, such as wineberry and barberry, that were also overtaking the trails at an alarming rate. Lastly, we helped maintain flood logs. Flood logs are placed on trails to help deviate water into nearby streams to ensure that the trails don't become flooded when it rains. If it wasn't for the maintenance of the trails, they would quickly be swallowed up by invasive flora and be rendered unusable.
Thank you, Mrs. Davis, for practicing philanthropy and letting us live up to our potential. Thank you, Professor Maida and Professor Trickle, for never letting us put in anything less than our best.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Catherine Davis, friends and colleagues. We would like to present to you our project on careers in healthcare by Seamus Hofnagel and myself, Jennifer Muri. We will begin with a little background to demonstrate what led to the choosing of our particular project. I have decided to pursue the career of a physician's assistant. This is someone who performs many of the same tasks as a physician, however, must practice under a physician's license. Unfortunately, the path that led to this career selection was not as straightforward as it could have been. I had known for a while I wanted to enter the medical field, but the main career that came to mind was a physician. I turned away from this option due to the amount of money and time that were involved in reaching this profession. Because I did not know of any other options, I shied away from the medical field in general. Not until after completing my undergraduate, when I was finally exposed to the different options, was I able to choose this goal.
My name is Seamus Hofnagel. I'm a graduate of the 2011 WCC RN program. My background includes 8 years of teaching high school and junior high school. My clinical experiences over the past 2 years, combined with my experience of educating children, helped lead me to this project of informing adolescents about the social and economic benefits of a career in healthcare. In an economy that is not very stable, job security is a strong incentive to enter the field of healthcare. Even as roles change and paradigms shift, healthcare professionals are secure in knowing that they can find suitable employment somewhere in the country. It may not always be in the immediate vicinity, but there are often jobs in nearby communities and larger metropolises. This security is expected to hold well into the next decade and beyond. One of the greatest perks of a health-related field is that it is one of the most challenging and fulfilling jobs that you can find. Making a difference in someone's life every day is the major reward for all healthcare workers. The healthcare industry is one of the few career fields that despite hard economic woes, is hiring at an amazing rate. Healthcare jobs are expected to grow faster than any other industry, roughly 22%, or 3.2 million new jobs by 2014. As baby boomers age and Generation X starts to have children, healthcare professions will become more in demand than ever.
One of the main concerns we have addressed is the fact that there is a lack of exposure to all the different careers available in the healthcare discipline, which in turn leads to a lack of interest in the field in general. The solution we have come up with is to help educate and expose students, both young and old, to all the potential career paths within the present-day healthcare system. This will ensure that they are aware of the options and can decide for themselves if one is possibly a good fit for them. In our presentations, we express that there are several myths relating to the healthcare careers, many stemming from the stereotypical concerns associated with entering the healthcare industry. People tend to only focus on the careers that require long-term schooling, which can be very expensive. It is common to believe that one cannot enter the medical field unless they are very wealthy and have a lot of time to devote to school, which most people do not believe they can do. However, the truth is there are many different levels that have different requirements. If one is interested in the medical field, it is quite possible to find a career that is a good fit for them.
Jen and I spoke to students at Palisade Prep and Mayapack High School. Backed by a series of slides and supplemental handouts, we summarized the occupations, qualifications, earnings potential, and future outlook for a variety of healthcare fields. We addressed a multicultural group of adolescents and stressed the strong points of the healthcare opportunities, of the healthcare field, which include both limitless growth and opportunities, as well as spiritual fulfillment. There was an emphasis on educating the audience of the minimum academic requirements for each specialty and the branches of future advancement. After our presentation, we fielded questions from the students. Many were focused on our experiences in the process of admission to our respective programs and the coursework they required. There were also numerous inquiries as to our clinical experiences over the past few years, such as, what's it like? What are the duties, the hours, and the atmosphere? There was youthful emphasis towards needles, medication administration, and a great curiosity about surgical experiences. At the conclusion of our lectures, we collected surveys giving feedback and thoughts.
We would like to thank Mrs. Catherine Davis for supporting our goals, Yonkers and Mayapack schools for allowing us to visit, and Professors Maida and Trickle for their guidance.
Welcome, Mrs. Davis, ladies and gentlemen, to our presentation. And with me on the stage are Patricia Zelinsky, Jessica Change, who are both majoring in biochemistry, Eric Gonzalez, who is aspiring to be a nurse, and I am Jen Alfonso, criminal justice major. The four of us are participating in a social entrepreneurial project as a part of commitment to the Catherine W. Davis Global Scholarship Program.
Part of our project was to establish a marketing distribution system for free-set tote bag, which is the start of freedom for women who are obligated on prostitution in India. Kerry Houghton and his wife will tell us about their interesting approach to solving one of India's major challenges through free-set.
most infamous red light districts in the world. 6,000 women, they say, service 20,000 men here every day, often for as little as 50 cents a trip. All this is no more than 2 minutes walk from the Hilton's front door. I think I would have run a million miles if I'd known my husband was bringing me all the way from New Zealand just to land me in the middle of a red light district. But that's literally how we found ourselves. We found this apartment and then realised it was in the sort of middle of the red light district. I guess, our belief has always been we want to work with our neighbours, and our neighbours on our doorstep happen to be prostitutes.
People need to understand that most of the women that are in this area, not all, they're not in the trade because they choose to. Prostitution chose them more than they chose prostitution. They're in the trade because of poverty. They're in the trade because they were stolen when they were 11 or 12 years old. They're in the trade because they don't have a choice.
We have grandmothers working with us who, I remember in one of our initial meetings, was cuddling her little 4 or 5 year old granddaughter, and she said, for the first time in my life, I know my granddaughter's not going to have to do this.
This was a celebration statement, really. I didn't want that for me, didn't want that for my daughter, but at least I know now that my granddaughter's not going to have to do that.
Freeset isn't a charity, it's a business, but it's a business with a heart, and it's changing these women's lives.
The way that most people start businesses is that you pick the best people and you try and pay the least or the medium rates to make a good business. We go and we pick, in literal terms, in terms of education and all that, we pick the worst people that nobody else would take on. And we try and we pay them the best that we can. And so it's all upside down. The upside of that, if you like, is that these women sort of somehow really take off. They've just been given a chance that they never had.
When they first came here, many of these women quite literally couldn't use a pair of scissors. Now they sew, they take literacy classes, and they each have a savings plan.
One day, Robert Nichol, who is the director of English Language Institute, came to our Global Scholars meeting. He introduced Freeset to us by telling the story of Freeset and the woman in India. He's sharing his experience, showing the video clips about Freeset and the sample bags. After his presentation, the woman issue and the woman's rights brought us attention. We couldn't imagine that there is still such a tragedy in this world. Today, women must be socially and economically strong. Patricia came up with an idea that forming a group to help those women, and it's our project for Catherine W. Davis Global Community Scholars Project.
We organized 3 major events throughout this year. Our most ambitious event was Freeset Profit for People Luncheon. Our next event was Freeset in Business for Freedom Skype presentation. And our last event was the Women's Faculty Luncheon. Because of our social entrepreneur project, we were offered to be observers at SIFE.
After set up Freeset Group, multiple ideas came onto our minds. However, one of the most ambitious projects was to bring Carrie Hilton to the Westchester Community College. After months of planning and organization, we set up the Davis Auditorium, where he was going to speak about his project. In addition, we sent invitation to the professors in order to have a luncheon with Carrie, and of course to let them know more about this wonderful project and make donations to discuss. This event was running excellent. We have a full reservations for the luncheon, and professors were happy to help us. However, Mother Nature didn't cooperate with us, and in January, a snowstorm kept the college closed, and of course, our event couldn't be done. However, we didn't give up with our project.
The Sky presentation was our second biggest event. What made this event so monumental was that we had a live interactive conversation with Carrie Hilton. Carrie Hilton gave us a glimpse of what life was like for the women in Calcutta. As a result, we brought awareness to the staff members and students at WCC College. We each gained valuable experience in what it takes to bring about a project like this. We each learned marketing, distribution, finance, along with the process and dedication it takes to pull together something off like this.
At the very end of Women's History Month, our group was honored to be invited to speak to the majority of the women's faculty on WCC campus. We had flyers such as the one above, a short informative speech, and complimentary free set bags. This was our way of speaking out to the campus about women in India who are still suffering in the sex trade and are in need of our help to escape and to move on so that they can lead a better life.
The FreeSet project involves in social entrepreneurship. Frank Locketel, the director of Institute for Entrepreneurial Studies, introduced SIFE to our team. SIFE is an international nonprofit organization that works with leaders in business and higher education to mobilize college students to make a difference in their communities. After our experience with FreeSet and SIFE, we have a passion for social entrepreneurship. The four of us would apply this skill that we have learned in this project and involve ourselves more social enterprise business in future to concern more social needs.
To conclude, we would like to give thanks to all those who had a huge hand in our success. Both Professor Madoff and Professor Trickle, along with Professor Robert and Frank Locketel, because without them, we would not have found our way. And we would also like to extend a special thank you to Mrs. Davis, because without her, we would not be here where we are today. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, faculty members, friends, family, and fellow Davis scholars, thank you for allowing us this opportunity to present our project for the Catherine Davis Scholarship Program. My name is Natasha Bakunda. This is my colleague, Jennifer Kuna, and our third colleague, Alexandra Leaf, couldn't be here today, but she's with us in spirit. I could stand here and talk about the importance of community service and volunteering. I could talk about the importance of practicing kindness and compassion, not only for our own happiness and well-being, but also to promote love for one another and to build character. But I won't, because I know that would be like preaching to the choir. You are all believers and practitioners and supporters of community service, and which brings me to the reason that we're here today. The Volunteer Army is the fruit of your example. The purpose of the Volunteer Army is to promote the philosophy of Catherine Davis and to engage people in community service. We are examples of how giving affects another person's life, and what we want to do is to promote the Catherine Davis model of community service and sustainability. Community service is an integral part of education and personal development. However, when I came to this college, we needed a centralized resource to help interested students get involved with local volunteer efforts. And this is why we created the Volunteer Army. We want to be that resource. Historically, the word and concept of army has been used to define a multitude of people acting together with a common purpose in order to bring about a particular outcome. In our view, only an army is capable of effecting the change that we want, to ask and to inspire people to make this world a better place by practicing the art of reaching out to others and by giving from the heart. But most of all, it is to take back the word Army and to own it. This, we hope, will not only create a backdrop of strength, unity, and purpose, but also engage people in a conversation that allows Army to be used in the context of community service, of volunteering, and of helping the world, rather than of defense, of war, and power. Our mission is to promote community service on campus, to motivate students to engage in volunteering, and to connect the students of this college, both individuals and groups, with organizations in our community that need our support. We provide students the opportunity to build their resumes, to hone their skills, and to meet new people. Community service is not only instrumental in building character and providing a well-rounded education, but it is fast becoming a prerequisite for further studies and employment. Therefore, the Volunteer Army finds volunteer activities, helps plan the logistics, and certifies the hours spent for both professional and academic resumes.
To recruit students to our cause, we participated in campus events such as Club Day, Earth Day, and the Career Fair. We held bi-weekly meetings. We launched a Facebook page. And we're part of the Gateway Center homepage. When a student or group of students wants to volunteer in the community, we help them find a compatible volunteer opportunity with respect to their area of interest, demographics, and schedule. We provide information and support so that they can have a fulfilling volunteer experience. Hopefully, this will encourage them and others to engage in community service. Our big event of the semester was the volunteer fair that we held here in the Gateway Center. We invited several local nonprofit groups on campus to speak with students about the volunteer opportunities that they have available. To get the word out about our event, we posted several rounds of flyers on campus. We emailed campus faculty and club advisors and asked them to spread the word to their students. And we announced the event on both the college Facebook page and our own. We even heard that some of the professors offered their students extra credit if they attended the fair. We had a great group of nonprofits at the fair, from the American Red Cross to Neighbors Link, Midnight Run, and Big Brothers Big Sisters, among others. In addition, the Asian Club and the Future Educator Clubs joined us and co-hosted a bake sale during the fair, with proceeds going toward disaster relief in Japan. We had a steady stream of people coming through the fair. As we walked around the tables, all of the organizations told us that they had found potential new volunteers, and students said that they were excited about the opportunity to get involved. Overall, it was a great success. Going forward, we have exciting plans for our volunteer army. And we have put together a budget and a list of proposed activities so that the club has everything in place to move forward next semester. Beginning next year, we intend the Volunteer Army to play a significant role here on campus, with several events throughout the year, including fall and spring volunteer fairs, as well as several other volunteer projects that both individuals and groups can participate in. We intend for the club to continue building on the relationships that we started with the nonprofits who came for the fair, by inviting them back to campus and connecting them with interested students. We also plan for the club to encourage volunteer work by hosting a recognition ceremony at the end of the year to honor those students who have participated in volunteer service projects throughout the year. In doing this, we hope to make volunteering a core part of the WCC experience and truly raise a volunteer army here on campus. Thank you all for listening to us today. Working on this project has been a rewarding experience, and we're glad that you're here to share it with. We'd like to thank our club advisors, Paula Dambroff and Aradania Camacho, for all of their help and hard work this semester. We'd also like to thank Professors Lori Maida and Kent Trickle, as well as our fellow Davis scholars, for all of their support and encouragement. And finally, we'd like to thank Mrs. Catherine Davis for giving us this opportunity and for embodying the spirit of service that we hope the Volunteer Army will carry on.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. Mrs. Catherine Davis, please allow me to introduce to you the founding members of the Brazilian Club. Marcelo Fisher, McClary Spratt, Elijah Noble, and myself, Tanisha Morrison Blackwood. The Brazilian population in the greater New York metropolitan area is estimated to be between 100,000 and 300,000 Brazilian nationals. Westchester Community College has a large number of students from different ethnic backgrounds. Thus, different languages can be heard throughout campus on a daily basis. In addition, there are many clubs here on campus, but none that represented the Brazilian community. So, we were inspired to find out more about these differences. Interestingly, there are many misconceptions about Brazilians, such as the language. Many people assume that Brazilians speak Spanish instead of Portuguese. Having a Brazilian in our group allowed us to understand and maybe share these and other differences. Therefore, our focus as a team was to form a club which embodied the Brazilian community in and around the tri-state area. With the founding of this club, we have hoped to bring not only the Brazilian students here at the college together, but students of all backgrounds, and provide them with a location where they can gather and exchange information, ideas, as well as give back to the public through community service. Our aim was to present support services designed to ease and enhance the experiences of immigrant members, such as skills training, leadership development, workshops regarding human resources, and workforce expansion programs through our affiliated organization, Cidadão Global. We've attempted to create an awareness and share the beauty of the Brazilian culture, as well as organize pertinent peer discussion groups and supply academic and personal counseling among all ethnic groups. In the long run, we hope that the Brazilian Club continues to participate in community service programs and carry on the journey of giving.
The Brazilian Club has enhanced the lives of its student members in various ways. They have made valuable friendships, been made aware of programs that can assist them in their personal and academic journey, and have participated in events that have helped the community. We are especially proud of our participation in the Out of the Darkness Community Walk that took place here at the campus and benefited the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. At the Spring Carnival event, we introduced our fellow students to a taste of delicious Brazilian food and spoke to them about our club and the services we offer. The ECHA soccer tournament was a student-organized affair that pitted different clubs against each other in a friendly game of soccer. We are pleased to say that we won, and a picture and an article about our winning team was published in a local paper. We try to balance fun events with new learning experiences. One of our student members organized an interesting trip to the United Nations where we learned about the inner workings of their political and internal affairs. We hope to leave behind a legacy of community service and encourage our members to broaden their horizons while fulfilling their academic dreams.
As a Brazilian representative in our group, I'm really proud to announce an amazing partnership with Cidadão Global. Cidadão Global is the first Brazilian nonprofit and community-based organization in New York City. This organization works collectively with Brazilian immigrants and the larger immigrant community to advance human rights. Also, Cidadão Global engages in community services, focusing on education, political awareness, leadership development, and social progress. My group and I feel that with this association, the Brazilian Club can further help our members to attain their goals and meet their needs. In the long run, we hope that the Brazilian Club continues to participate in community service programs. And lastly, our goal is to serve our members, families, and friends with proper information and services designed to facilitate cultural exchange and the immigrant experience.
When we first got together as a group, we didn't know exactly what to expect. It wasn't an easy road, but we learned so much about each other and what we could accomplish as a team. This experience has touched our lives, and we hope that through our combined efforts has touched the lives of others as well. We would like to give a special thanks to our advisors, John Watkins and Claudia Cardoza, for helping us make the club a reality. They have each dedicated their time and knowledge and have been instrumental in all of our endeavors. We would also like to thank our, Dr. Lori Maida and Ken Trickle, whose combined support maintained our focus and whose guidance we have found to be invaluable. Most of all, we'd like to sincerely thank Mrs. Davis for the amazing gift of education that she's bestowed upon us. We've learned the meaning of true generosity and will carry it with us wherever we go. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us, and thank you again, Mrs. Davis, for the gift that you've given to this college and to these students. And please join us across the hall in the classroom for some refreshments.